Hi everybody, this is Colleen in the Crafty Basement, and today I'm going to be giving you the directions on how to make the 3 cards for the September 2021 card class, or card of the month, stamp set of the month, how to make these cards. So you know that you will be getting things that you need to make 2 of each of these cards, so the ingredients to make all of that. However, in doing something different, you're going to be cutting your own backgrounds out of the designer series paper. Again, these are the 3 cards. You'll also be getting a PDF besides this video of how to put them together, but we're going to start with this 3rd card because it's the second, well, it's kind of the fussiest card to make. So we're going to be doing that first. You are going to need, and you'll see this on your PDF, you're going to need a piece of cinnamon cider that's cut 4 1/4 by 11. These are pre-cut for you. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but you're going to have another piece of cinnamon cider that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. Then you're going to layer, okay, well, let me just show you the pieces. And then you're going to get a lattice piece. And from your designer series paper, you're going to have to cut a background paper, and this is going to be 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. So 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. You're also going to need 3/4 by 3 3/4. You're also going to need the designer series paper that has these plants on it. And I chose this plant, and I chose those leaves, and I chose this, and a pot already done, and then somewhere else there's another pot. So I'll be saving time by cutting these out off camera. Okay, and then you're gonna need dimensionals, and what else are you gonna need? Linen thread, which will be included in your packet. And then these are lattice pieces. And these are lattice, you're gonna get half a package of these, which will be 5 of these lattice pieces. You're only gonna need 2 for all the cards that you're gonna make, but they'll be included in your packet, as will the pieces you need of the linen thread and dimensionals. I think that's it. Okay, so what I did off camera is I adhered the 4 by 5 1/4 piece of cardstock. I adhered it with dimensionals so that it's up off the paper. Then what I also want you to do is adhere your middle piece. This is the very vanilla, and you're going to put it inside of here too. And we're going to put this aside. Okay. The next thing it says is to layer the DSP. Oops, well, I guess we will need this back. I don't really want to put it on here yet, but if you notice this DSP, it's cut so that there is a space at the bottom here, and that's done on purpose to kind of add more dimension or more interest to your card. And I think I will, let me see here. Where's the card in person? No, I'm not going to worry about that. So then it says next on the DSP, DVM, all these letters. I guess this is a PDF with the instructions on it. To adhere your piece that you had to cut, and the dimensions are in your directions, but it's going to be 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then you're going to adhere it. Here's the top of your card. Make sure it's the top. And you're going to put it equidistant from the 2 sides and the top, but again, remember that the bottom's going to have a little bit of space. The next, what it says is that you're going to fussy cut the fussy cut, meaning that means use a scissors and not a die. So we're going to fussy cut the plants from the DSP. And I guess this is where you get to choose what you want. You're going to choose a tall plant. So they have this one, they have this one. The one that I chose is this one here. Cut pieces, I've got the pot, so 2 pots, a couple of plants, and then it says on your PDF is that you're going to then, at the length, you're going to cut this at an angle. Well, I'll let you know on the first card, you're going to need half of this. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is half of this lattice. So I'm going to just chop off half because we're going to need that for a different card. And then we're going to cut the other one. So we kind of cut this in half. This one we're going, this one, the smaller one, we're going to save for the first card. Hopefully I won't lose it. And this card, this part, we're going to use to cut at an angle from up here. So what I did was I put this up in the corner, and I kind of want the smaller piece here and the larger here. So I'm going to take a 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to take this part off. So, and then I kind of want this down here. So I'm going to take this part off. And now I'm going to count these squares. So here I have 1, 2, then I'm going to do 2, and then 3 is how I did this. So we have 1 here. Cut that off. And cut that off. Cut up to here. Okay, so when I said 1, 2, 3, I would leave these because you could either cut them off or not, your choice. Here I have 3 across the top, 2 here, 2 here, and then 1 here. So now I want to adhere that. The best thing to do is, again, my favorite glue. You're going to sick of hearing me. But you're going to take your liquid glue, and I put it on the little dots that are in the lattice, because you don't really need a whole lot to hold it down. So now your background is being built, and look how beautiful it is. Fussy cut the plants in the pots, we did that. Then adhere the 2 tallest plants directly onto the DSP. So I'm going to take this one, which I terribly did a bad job of cutting, and you will notice this if I put it down like this, because they're kind of hanging off. I don't have my good glasses on. These I found at the bottom of my purse. Thank goodness I have a bottom of the purse to find these. But what I want to do is I'm going to put my tall one here, but you notice I'm overlapping it down here because it kind of looks like a tabletop if you do that. So I'm going to put this here, I'm going to put that down. Then I have my pot, other pot I'm going to put down. So I'm going to put this here, and then this one's going to go a little bit lower just to make it look as though it's more forward on the table. We'll get that down now. Okay, so again, put some glue on here, just on, put that on the bottom, but not too far down. I'm overlapping here on the border here, just because we can, and it gives it that dimension. Okay, then I'm going to take this pot and I'm going to, oops, squish it, that's squished out. I'm going to put it a little bit lower to give it the illusion that it's closer to you on the table. And this is the leaves that I chose for here because it had multicolors leaves, not just the dark, it had other colors. And I'm going to pick that up on the bottom, kind of pick it up on underneath the lip. I probably should have put that together first. Maybe I'll just move this over. Here we go. Now these, again, as I mentioned, these are flat on the card. It is not put up with dimensionals at all, because what you're going to do is you're going to add this little guy with the dimensionals. So I'm gonna turn that guy over and I'm gonna put dimensionals on here. These are the smaller dimensionals. So if you had a bigger one, you could probably just put one on the back of here. Peel that off, and I put this kind of in between those two. And then again with this little guy that I cut out, I'm going to put this up on dimensionals too. So you guys are my guinea pigs. I used to make these videos fairly often, but then I kind of stopped. And again, when I put this in, I'm going to tuck it in the plant holder. And again, this is going to kind of stick up. But I kind of got out of the habit of doing these videos, and I've been a little bit afraid to get started on it again. But I would like to do this once a week just to play with my stuff. Then I'd like play with it and I'd actually use it. Early espresso. And I'm going to take my piece of very vanilla. I'm just gonna lightly tap, then look to see if it's on there. And I'm gonna come here and I'm going to line this up. Oh, my thank you. Ooh, you know what? Thank you is gonna fit on there because that piece is bigger. So I'm going to peel that off and use the thank you. Huh. Why? Just so I have a different saying on this card, so I don't have two of the same. Here we go. Yay, and then you can choose whichever one you want to use. Well, you would do that anyway. Okay, put thank you on here. Okay. Yay, nicely done, Colleen. Well, thank you. I just took my scissors, which have very sharp points, and I poked a hole in one side and twisted it to make a nice big hole. I'm gonna go to the other side of that same hole just to make it bigger, kind of twist it. You're going to take your linen thread and you're gonna go through the back so that it's coming out the back and bring the other. So I'm gonna pull these through, and you know, if life was amazing, we could knot these edges and there would be enough room. So let's see if life is gonna be amazing for us, where I can cut a little bit of a, or I can tie a knot on this end. Oh, that looks good enough. And then pull this through. And knot this end. I think we're gonna work it. I think it's gonna work, you guys. Okay, and then I'll cut this little bit off here. Okay, now we've got a cute little sign. So we're gonna put this up on here. And I'm gonna cheat here, and I cheated on mine too, where it said to a dear friend. I take my dimensionals, I put it on the back of my thank you. I'm gonna use 3 because they're little. Use 3 if they're big too. And I'm gonna, do I want it? I'm gonna put it at an angle mainly because going across it's a little too big. And then what I have here for you is I'll be sending a couple of these out. I'm gonna use yellow just because I want to save the blue for you. And I'm going to pretend that this is a little thing for your, there you go, for your sign to hang on. So it's like a little hanger, a little, okay, and that's that card. You can use more of these to decorate it, but I didn't. So this card is the harder card of the 3 that you'll be making. So we're finished with that. If you want to, you can decorate the inside. My friend Jan always decorates the inside of her cards. So the next one that we're going to make is the second hardest one. And you say, why are we making the second hardest card? Because we're going to save the easy one for last. So you are going to need a piece of DSP, which is cut for you. And this is 11 inches by 4 1/4, cut for you. And then you're going to need a piece of the Designer Series paper that's been cut for you, or if you want to, you know, do this on your own, in that paper packet is other wood-like paper. You're also going to need scraps. You're going to need, where is it? That little piece of lattice that we had cut already, which flew to the other side over here. So you're going to need the other half of that lattice that we did. Scraps of the green. This is Sahara sand, and it is cut to 2 1/4 by 3 1/4, and that's going to layer onto here. You need that. You're also going to need scraps of Cajun Craze and scraps of crumb cake. Okay, now on this card, I mentioned, oh, you're also going to need a little bit of this vanilla, but I'll find that. That's right here. Okay, on this one, I did do some stamping, but I did use the die cuts as well. So just so that you're using everything, the first thing to do, and we're going to follow the instructions that I have. Guess what I found? That other plant. Anyway, I'm going to put these aside. So we're not going to use them quite yet. We're going to follow the directions that are on the not DSP. I did it again, the PDF. So you're going to take your DSP and your card stock, and you're going to fold it in half so that you get your card base. And I guess I didn't realize that all of these cards are opening up like this. That's so funny. So here we did that. Then it says you're going to adhere the DSP to the center here. So use this glue if you notice. There we go. So you want to try to get it equidistant from all the corners. There we go. Okay. Then you're going to set that aside. Then you're going to take that piece of lattice that we had, and we're going to glue that onto the Sahara sand, just so that it stands out. I just put it on there's like holes that are there and holes that are filled in. So they're the solid holes here. So I made sure I got some glue on each of those. And then what I also wanted to do was put it in the corners, and your glue will dry clear. So on the edges, just a little bit on your corner here. So this is the whole half of that other one that we had, that we used on that card we just did. So I'm putting the lattice onto the Sahara sand. And it barely fits, but it does. There we go. So that you don't have any of the Sahara sand showing through. So I put the lattice onto the Sahara sand. So with the Just Jade ink, you're going to ink up your stamp. And you're going to stamp your leaf. And then it says you could either fussy cut or use either fussy cut that or use your dies. So I guess you get a choice with this one. I'll just take that and put it aside. Then it says with the Evening Evergreen, just kind of clean that off later. Evening Evergreen, you're going to stamp the dotted leaves, which is this waterfall. Oh boy, I sure didn't leave myself much room, did I? So I'm going to put this Just Jade away and take the Evening Evergreen, I absolutely love all the different shades of green that Stampin' Up! Has. So I'm gonna take this and I'm going to open that up. So I called this the polka dotted one, and it basically is just one that kind of falls over. So if you, I don't know if you can see that. Okay. There we go there. I don't know how I like that, but it's all gonna work out all the same. So clean this up. And then it says with the Early Espresso ink. So we'll close up this Evening Evergreen, which is a way cool color for Christmas. I'm gonna be doing some on these, some classes using that ink. Here's the Early Espresso. So right now I have these two. I'm gonna take my Early Espresso ink and I'm going to stamp the pot 2 times. So I'm gonna use that this pot here that looks, I'm going to take that and I'm going to stamp it on the, what color is that? Oh my goodness, I didn't write the color on there. So I believe that this is Cajun Craze. So if you use that, it kind of looks like a terracotta pot with the color, and using the Early Espresso really gives it a nice color. Okay. And then the macrame hanger, you're not going to need to use any ink for that, but you're going to use the crumb cake ink. So I have my little pieces cut here, and we're going to go through and continue here. Hopefully I won't run out of battery. So I have my little evergreen, and I want my words to say a little note. So what I did was, the stamp set doesn't say a little note, but here it says a little note with the biggest thanks. So what I did and what I learned is you take a piece of washi tape and you cover up the other words and you just keep the little note exposed. So you're gonna go and you're gonna, that's gonna keep the other letters from getting full of ink. So now I have those, just a little note. And now I'm gonna tear off the washi tape, because you don't, believe me, I know, you don't want to put it down with that. I'm gonna put this just like that. Ta-da! And now you are free, or I'm free, to freehand cut this. And I'll give you different, a little note is a little crooked. I'm gonna just straighten it up a little bit. I think you all know how to do this. I've said it before, but if you haven't seen this before, if you cut halfway up, notch it, then go from the corner, excuse me, to where you cut it. And again, on this side, from the corner to where you cut it, you get a fishtail. And I'll do it a little bit closer over here. So you take your, I'll use my snips, they're easier to see with. You take your up halfway, and then from the corner, snip it, and then from this corner to the middle, and snip it, and then you have your little sentiment. Now, okay, you guys, now it's time to put this baby together. Yippee, here we go. Okay, so one thing I didn't do was I took this piece of linen thread and I'm gonna put it through the back of the hanger. And now I have a loop. I'm gonna put the ends through the loop. And I'm gonna pull it tight like this. I'm gonna do the same thing here. And I'm gonna go through the front this time because I think that's how it should have gone. Let's see which one looks better. So you take it, go through the front. I'm gonna build our little hanging baskets right now. So There we go. So we have one hanging basket. We are going to take one of the pots and we're going to glue it on to the macrame. And so what I do is I'm going to turn the macrame over and I'm going to put dots of glue on just little bits of it. You don't have to put a whole lot. Little bits of glue on the larger parts here. Get rid of that. Then you're going to turn it over and put your pot in there. I have glue on my fingers and glue on the pot. So I might as well just do the other one since my hands are all full of glue anyway. And then I'll rub it off, ha. So put a little bit of glue again. Onto the parts that are, there we go. Take your other pot. Turn this over. See if I can do this a little better. And put the pot, nope, can't do it. Put the pot into the hanger. You know what I'm just thinking? Have you ever tried to put a pot in a macrame hanger? It's kind of like the same, it's a pain. It's a little bit harder than you think, unless you're good at it, which obviously I'm not. Okay. There we go. Oh, now we have our 2 plants and the 2 plant hangers. We're gonna take our little plant here. I'm gonna use a glue dot for this. So I'm gonna put my glue dot on the stem of this leaf right here. And this one's just gonna kind of peek out behind here. So then I'm just gonna do that. Do I want more of my stem showing? There we go. So that one's done. The next one is gonna go on the outside of the pot. So kind of look around to see where you want it. And this doesn't matter if you have the glue down here because it's gonna go on the pot. So we're gonna hang this little guy. I don't know why I'm calling the plants guys. They're not guys or girls. There we go. Oopsie. And the other 2 things we're going to put together while we have the glue out is we're going to take our little note and we're going to attach it to our spray. I think I'm going to wait on that. Okay. Okay, I'm going to glue the lattice down. This is only the 2nd card, you guys, but the 3rd one will go together pretty quickly. Okay. Then we're going to put the plants up on dimensionals. I really wish I had my bigger dimensionals here. Because then I wouldn't have to put on not so many, it's just that they're little and pain in my butt. So I'm just gonna, for now, just put 2 on. Put as many as you think you need. You can even put them on the, okay. So, this guy is gonna go on the towards the top over here. And we can take this and fold it into the back of your card. We'll just take a glue dot here and glue dot the top of it down because that's the top of your card. So here are the glue dots. Okay, then we'll take off the back of here, the backs, and we'll put this little guy on this side, Why am I calling them guys? I think I'm bothered by that. Okay, and again with the glue dot, we're going to put this up here. And we'll cut this off here. Okay, we'll put our little note down here. I'm going to put that up on dimensionals just because then it's showing above. And then we'll take this and we'll put it up on dimensionals. You say, Colleen, you use so many dimensionals. Okay, so here we have it. I like it much better with those little things hanging down. Okay, and this is a great color for that. So let's move on to number 3. Card number 3, the easiest one ever. The only thing, it is like really easy. And here it is here. Let me find the pieces that I cut for it. And you're gonna have to cut pieces too. So get rid of all this stuff, get it out of the way. Okay, so here you've got a piece of evening evergreen. Cut it 4 1/4 by 11. And it's scored at the 5 1/2 side, and we're gonna fold that in half. Okay. The other thing you have is from your stack, you're going to need a piece of this red brick, and this is going to get cut at 3 3/4 by 5. So let's do that now. I hope that this one here, let's do 5. Yep, there's 5 there, and 3 3/4 is going to go here. Oh, just enough. Okay, so 3 3/4 by 5. And you're not going to put on there. You're also going to have scraps of vanilla, and then you're going to have a piece of vellum. Now your vellum, I always say this, but it has what I call a curl factor, and you want to see which way it's easiest to curl, whether it's this way or turn it over in this way. This way's a little stiffer. You want to do that so that it curls into the paper. And I just say that because sometimes it's just a pain. It's just a pain. Now to break up and add interest, the artist who created this card put these little strips of very vanilla, and she put them down on the bottom here and across the top here. You can see it here, to add a little bit of interest and to kind of break up what's going on. Can't seem to find mine, even though I know I had a million of them, so I'm just gonna cut, it's about 3/4 of an inch wide, and I'm just gonna go with whatever is here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do first, is I'm gonna adhere that to my red brick. I don't even know if that's what it says. But it says to fold the base and then adhere the very vanilla strips. Okay, so here I have the very vanilla strip, here and here. I'm just gonna add a little bit of, I'm gonna change this up and use a tape runner. So I'm gonna put tape runner on the top half of one, and I'm gonna do, well, the top half of the other one too. I'll just turn it around. And basically I'm going to, I have grid paper, you may not, but I'm gonna put it so that it's about 1/8 of an inch. So that it's sticking out maybe 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. It's stuck to the grid paper, people. So about 1/8 of an inch, and then equidistance from the edge. Not 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. There we go. And then I'm gonna do the same to the other side. the adhesive is along the top. I'm gonna equidistance from here, about 1/4 of an inch. There we go. And then I'm gonna take this, see that pretty end side? Okay, then I'm gonna take my, well, I could use my glue, but I have the tape runner here. Okay, and I'm going to adhere it to the front. Oops, I did a really bad job of cutting that paper. I'm gonna check you guys', make sure you get a good one. I'm gonna turn it over so that it's better. So I'm gonna put this on here, making sure that it's equidistant from all sides. That seems to be my word today. Okay, now we have this paper here. This is the vellum. I'm gonna turn this over. And I know that my curl factor, it's curling into the paper. Again, I'm gonna use that wonderful Evening Evergreen. You know, I'm looking at this area here and it's like a total mess. I'm thinking to myself, is this what everybody who does videos, if they end up with like a total mess? I don't know, but I'm gonna put this thank you towards the bottom. Nice, and I'm gonna put that aside so that it's gonna take a little bit of time to dry. And while it's drying, we are going to, whoops, this is the card that you could just use stamps and then Fussy Cut, or you can use the machine. I think I'm gonna use the machine just cause. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. So there again. So I'm gonna take my scrap paper that I have of the very vanilla, of which you will have, and I'm going to stamp with the cinnamon cider, which again kind of mimics the, what do they call it, terracotta pots. So I'm going to tap, 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 do my cinnamon cider, there we go. Then I'm gonna take this again with the 3 leaves, the one with the 3 leaves, and then with garden green this time, a different green this time. Gosh, I hope, I'm gonna run out of time here. Anyway, I want to show you this before I turn it off to cut these out. So I'm gonna cut one here, or garden green here, and then without re-inking, I'm gonna do it again. That's gonna give me a little bit of a different green. So if you look at this, it's a lighter in this one, and that's the same here. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with things Fussy Cut. What I want you to do is take back that little piece of vellum that you have. We're gonna build on the vellum. Let me turn this over so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so you're gonna build on your vellum. And you're gonna start with your pot, and you're gonna put a couple of dimensionals on there. And you might as well put, well, we'll skip that for now. Okay, so you wanna put this towards the bottom, kind of near the words. Okay, I'm gonna dimensional up these plants. You haven't put the vellum on your card yet, because I'm going to show you why. I'm going to put dimensional. I'm just going to put 1 because I'm really afraid I'm going to run out of battery here. And then where would you be? Oh my God, you'd have to figure it out, and I think you would do just fine. But I'm going to put one little plant like here. Ooh, I can bring this down just a little bit. Okay, then, because it wasn't exactly low enough. Okay, I'm gonna put that there. And I'm gonna put the other one, which you'll see I didn't quite cut out very well, but towards the front. There we go. Okay, now that you have this, you're gonna put it on the front of your card. Well, adhesive will show through on your vellum. So you're basically just gonna put adhesive where the plant and the planter is, the plant and the pot. If you can get it out. And that's what happened, it got clogged. So I'm gonna put just on the back. where the plant is, the planter, and then I'm gonna put it on my vellum. And then you're not gonna be able to see the adhesive, but it's on your card really well. And there's your other card. You will also have a piece of the Very Vanilla to put on the inside of your card, and you can decorate that how you want. But there's that card, and then this card, and then this card. This is what you're gonna have when you go home. You will be home when you make these. So this is the Plentiful Plants stamp set of the month of September 2021. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. See you later.